Hey everyone, it's Wayne at Inspired to Change again. Bringing another video to us for the YouTube channel. For anybody that is currently working with us or just fancies having a watch of the videos in order to have a look at some of the styles and techniques and strategies and some of the ideas that we look at Inspired to Change. As usual, as always, we say at the beginning of every video, if you hit subscribe, you hit that little bell, you'll get a notification every time we post a new video. Which we're trying to do on a weekly basis at the moment, although it's not always easy. Again, I'm back in the office, managing to get some time to make some videos that we can post up on the channel. What I want to talk to you today is really important at the moment, and it's the idea of personal space. And I think with the circumstances going on currently with regards to COVID-19 and the social distancing, we thought it was really important to sort of have a look and have a think about this idea of personal space. And I suppose one of the first questions is what does personal space mean to you? I think we all have different ideas and different concepts of what personal space means. But most of us as a society have general rules that most of us stick to. When we're looking at personal space in a physical sense, I think as a rough rule for most of us, we feel comfortable when people are sort of arm's length. Even if we sometimes know them, you get somebody to step beyond that sort of arm's reach, and I think there's an involuntary start to sort of back away a little bit. And one of the things we'll have a discussion and we'll have a chat about is how that invasion of personal space can be used as a way to intimidate and threaten somebody, and the effects that can have on another individual. So we have that idea of personal space and the physical personal space. And I think although we do have common rules or common ideas, I think there are a lot of different factors that affects that personal space and how far or how near that boundary is. At the moment, we have social distancing set at the 2 metre mark. How many of you before social distancing, if I said to you how far is 2 metres, would have been able to sort of give a rough estimate of what 2 metres are? Whereas I bet most of you now have got a good idea of what 2 metres are, because we've seen lines on the floor, we've seen markers set out at what is an acceptable distance, what is roughly that 2 metres apart. So there's lots of things that can change and affect that idea of personal space and that physical personal space. Things that are enforced on us, such as what's going on at the moment. I think who that individual is, who that other person is, can have an effect on our idea of personal space. There are some people that you will feel more comfortable getting closer to. There will be some people that you feel that you want to keep a bit more of a distance, and that you will have your own reasons and your own situations of why that is. But that's one of the things that we're going to have a look and explore. I think we also have to acknowledge that there are times where our own comfort levels with regards to personal space may be compromised, and how we regulate ourselves and we control ourselves during that time. Shopping centres, sports arenas, you go to watch something, you go to watch a concert, queuing outside, getting into places. They are all common situations and common circumstances where our own comfort levels with regards to personal space may be invaded, and we almost prepare for that, and there's an expectation that that's going to happen. So I wanted to sort of touch on that we may have our ideas of personal space, but not everybody has the same rules, and there are some times that when it's outside of our control that those rules are compromised. But I just don't want to have a look at personal space in regards of physical personal space, keeping people at a distance. I want to also have a chat about this idea of personal space around property and our own privacy, and what that might mean. What might come under that umbrella, that bracket of invasions of personal space, invasions of privacy. Checking phones. Is that an invasion of personal space? Is that an invasion of privacy? Do some people see that that's acceptable? Do some people feel that it's not? And if it's not, how do you discuss with that other person that your own ideas, your own beliefs are that that's not okay, that's not acceptable? And if you do feel that's okay and that's acceptable, how do you have those conversations? How do you have that discussion? So let's have a think about what else might come under that bracket of personal space with regards to property. So we spoke about phones, wallets, bags, purses. What about time? Can people invade our personal space by invading our time? You tell me, or you show me a parent that when their children have been toddlers or really young, that as a parent you've not been in the bath and suddenly had I need the loo, I want the toilet, can I come talk to you? Is that an invasion of personal space? Is that an invasion of privacy? And again, when it comes to children, we sort of accept that. But what about when you're trying to spend time by yourself and another individual is interrupting, invading that time? How does that feel? How does that feel with regards to personal space, with privacy, your own mental health, your own mindset? And also the other way around. One of the skills that we look at is time out. When somebody is taking the time out and they're taking themselves out of a situation, while they're calming themselves down, while they're preparing themselves to be in a better position where they can discuss what the issue is or talk through it, should we give them that personal space? Should we give them that privacy? And if we follow them, if we call them, if we text them, is that an invasion of that personal space? And it's just a different concept. It's coming from personal space from a slightly different perspective. It's getting us to think about personal space slightly differently. So, one of the things I said that I'd look at is how that invasion of personal space and privacy can be used. It can be used as a weapon to intimidate, to threaten. And one of the things I said is, you get somebody to step closer than what arm's length is. I'm roughly arm's length on that camera now. Okay? So that, and I can see myself on the screen, that looks quite comfortable, that looks okay. Yeah, it doesn't take much for it to start looking a lot more intimidating. And how that feels for people. And that's on a screen. So how do you think about somebody physically there and how that affects? Now you think about in your own relationships and what do we do as people, as human beings, when the argument, when the discussion gets more heated? How many of us have been guilty of going that little bit closer and invading that personal space? And actually what the effect has on that other person, what that has on their ability to feel comfortable and feel that they can communicate and they can talk to us. And it can be quite threatening. So it's about having to think about personal space and how we manage that personal space, and especially how, at the moment, how we respect that personal space. I've heard lots of tales at the moment of there being fights in supermarkets and in queues where people have invaded that what is now recognised as that social distancing space. And I think it's not always through deliberate action. I think sometimes some people just have less of an understanding of how important personal space is to people. They have less of an idea of recognising when they've invaded that personal space. So I suppose it's always being mindful as well when somebody invades or steps into that personal space of how we communicate that we're not happy about that. And do we always need to be forceful and aggressive, or actually can we explain and let that person know in a calm way, but in a way that they'll understand? So it's about thinking about personal space, how we keep that personal space, not just the idea of physical personal space, but also with regards to privacy, somebody taking time on their own, somebody being allowed to process situations and have a think. Okay. So thank you.